Let's see, just double checking things before we get started. All right, looks like we're good on YouTube. So my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. It is May 4th, 2021. We're getting up to some interesting price action this morning. So let's take a look at where we sit in the markets. So yesterday's session, not too much to speak of. We did have an inside day in the SPY on the daily. Overall trend remains intact. We're not seeing a ton of warning signs yet from the perspective of just the SPY chart. Some notable things to keep on watch as we dig into lower time frames. We see that we have a couple of ranges that we're trying to define and ultimately watch for losses of key levels as we are extended in many perspectives on larger time frames. As we're sitting around the middle of that range right now, we are seeing a little bit of volatility this morning in the pre-market. And we want to keep in mind, as we get into today's session, what is causing some of the weakness in the overall market, and obviously how long do we expect it to last. So with our SPY, we see we are starting to break below this upper range. We can see that with a simple trend line or a horizontal line. We're starting to lose this upper range. We're coming to test it at the moment, and so far we haven't breached it, but the weakness is evident in the pre-market. And then we have this deeper lower range that we are scouting if the market were to turn a bit bearish in the short term. And as we look at where our value sits as we enter into the month of May, we see that a lot of our value has been moving higher throughout the transition of the market to these upper price levels. We have a pretty significant VPOC at 417.50, which is roughly the middle of that upper range that we're trying to defend this morning. And then as we look at the lower end of the range, we see that there is a shelf of value around 411.50. These are areas that if the market were to sell, we would expect some sort of reaction. The market would try and hold these areas amidst a more moderate sell-off. And if we were to lose these areas, this would be concerning for us because we do have these larger pockets that sit below. So as we have the notable shelf at 406, that pocket would be a pretty significant drop zone, and the market would typically, in most cases, have trouble defending these areas until it got to 406. So obviously, short term, we're trying to stay elevated in these ranges from the bullish perspective, but a pullback into a lower range and ultimately defending some shelves of value would not be a cause for concern. It would simply indicate that the momentum in the short term has sort of subsided. And we are looking for more of a deeper dip buying sort of pullback, something that is more akin to a flag in most pattern-based trading. As we look at our Qs, we see that the Qs are to some degree to blame for some of the weakness that we're seeing in the markets. We had some sell the news events last week with a lot of our tech earnings, and there have been some significant sell-offs in certain names. We obviously had things like Microsoft and Tesla give us a fairly negative reaction. But we also have some other names that we'll take a look at today that had very significant gap downs on their earnings. And while these aren't our key big tech names, our big market cap, control of the tech sector kind of names, they are relevant to the Qs. And if a lot of them are selling at the same time, that can cause a drag in the overall index. But we see that the Qs have broken through their 20-day moving average. That is sort of a red flag from the perspective of the trend. And we are seeing some additional volatility this morning. As we come into our 4-hour, we can see that we did have a very weak day yesterday, closing at or near the low. And then we're seeing some continuation this pre-market. I've gone ahead and marked 2 levels prior to today's session. We had the low that was set through this volatile period where we had the potential news catalyst of additional capital gains tax on certain income earners. And then we also had this relative high that was set. We were able to gap above this resistance, very short-term resistance, back test it from above, and then that led to a new high in the market. So this area here, while it is being set by key levels, the market did not spend a lot of time in this area. And when we look at the 4-hour chart, and then we'll actually look at the 1-hour as well, we can see that the market reacted off of these levels significantly, where we had this key high, a pullback, a breakout. Let me bring up my pen just so it's a little bit more clear. Key high, pullback, breakout right here. And then when we pulled back, we confirmed this as support. So this acted as resistance, it turned into support. Market saw a very significant reaction off of that area, and we did make a new high after confirming this as a low. So when we have these levels, obviously we expect the market to respect them until they don't. You know, essentially we mark them because we expect the market to have reactions at these levels. And while we did have this upper range set by these 2 lows here, we are breaking through that in pre-market. So we want to essentially note where is the next place we expect the market to react. It is going to be at this significant high and low point that we had in the past. Now, what makes this interesting is if we get into our 1-hour chart and we pull up the volume profile, we see that while these both are key levels, from the volume profile perspective, we have a pocket. And the rules that we're setting for this pocket-based thesis is you do not want to essentially catch a knife inside of a pocket. You don't want to try and buy the dip in a pocket because there's not a lot of previous value set in those areas. And therefore, market participants really haven't proven to us that those price levels are relevant. What's interesting that we're seeing in pre-market is that we do have a reaction off of the low, which was set by that high to breakout low, the structure that we talked about previously. So what I'm looking for today is for the Qs to actually hold this area. If they do not, and we see more selling today, we do have this range here, and we will be falling back into this range, which is noted by the value profile with a shelf. And as we break into a range, I would expect the low end of the range to be tested. So thesis-wise, I'm looking at both a significant reaction price level, something that has, within a couple of cents shown significant movement above and below. And if we do not hold there, if the market is weak today, we do have another range to consider for a target to the downside. So either way, we have a thesis coming into today, and we have some structure to confirm that thesis. We're not using arbitrary price targets. We're using actual historical price levels and value zones to act as targets or potential bounce points if we see the strength. And finally, as we get into our IWM, we talked about how the IWM overall has been a bit choppy. We've seen bullish daily structures. We've seen bearish false breakout structures. We had this key level that the market was able to clear and then immediately pulled back into. So right now, things are a little bit hard to gauge inside the IWM. As the markets in the SPY and the Qs are starting to show maybe a little bit of lacking in momentum, lacking in follow through, and the need for a pullback is sort of on the table, I would expect the IWM to either simply correlate to these other markets and everything sort of pulls back at the same time, or IWM will become once again a rotating index, and we may see some relative strength in IWM while things like tech and the SPY pull back. So either way, I think the IWM is something to keep on watch. Overall, I'm not seeing a ton of great setups here. That's even with the concept of the weekly having this nice bounce off of the 20 period moving average. So as we look into our lower levels, we'll just kind of note some key areas to keep in mind. We had things like this pennant-based structure that did break bullish. As we're pulling back, we obviously have this rising trend line that we can start to look at. And that would be more on a weak market. We would expect maybe a reaction to occur if the IWM had to pull back all the way to this zone. We would expect some reaction there. Otherwise, I would say the reaction could occur on a back test of the pennant. The pennant itself is hard to define. It's not a very clear structure overall. And because these two areas sort of converge around the same price, depending on how long it takes to get there, I would expect a reaction to occur regardless inside of the 220 zone. Before that happens, though, we do have a lot of proving to do to the downside. And overall, the markets are still in bullish context. So this pullback may be short-lived, and the IWM could continue to see some momentum to the upside. And as we look at just our 1 hour, let's see where VPOC and value sits. Keep in mind that the breakout did lead us away from VPOC. VPOC still is sitting around 221.50 in these markets. We are pulling back to VPOC. So overall, value here is acting as gravity. There's been a lot of hesitation to move away and start to trend. And as we return to VPOC, we will simply see if this market just needs to consolidate for another period of time, potentially even losing VPOC and testing the VA low. But overall, concept remains the same. I'm not really looking too heavily at this market for clues. I'm just kind of seeing how it reacts with SPY and Q, which tend to be a little bit clearer at this time. So shifting into our sector overview, we know that the Qs are acting as some of the weakness that we're seeing in the past couple of sessions. We see that tech has pulled back significantly from this double top high. And similar to the Qs, there is this area of interest inside of the chart, which is a pocket. So in the perspective of the daily, this is acting as a gap that has yet to be filled. But in the perspective of the Qs, you have to look at the volume profile to actually see the lack of value in that area. But the concept remains the same. As the market is trying to potentially fill this gap, we expect some sort of reaction to occur when we get through the end of the gap, and either that gap will sort of retrace back through or just continue to fall if we see very little to no reaction at the end of the gap. So the Qs and the XLK technology sector, very similar structure in the charts, and ultimately the same sort of thesis. We either are going to hold this area short term, or we're going to kind of clear it very quickly, and we'll see a lot of correlation in the market as maybe some potential fear starts to sell into the pullback. XLF, pretty much at all-time highs at this point. We had a new all-time high yesterday. Potential double top forming, but structure here is very strong on the uptrend. Once again, a pullback would be something that would just be part of the trend structure. and we've seen pullbacks in the past that have led to all-time highs. So this continues to be a strong sector getting stronger. XLV, similar to tech, we're seeing a little bit of weakness. Overall, daily structure is very strong. We've seen reactions off of the 20 moving average, and we have not yet seen a new high be placed, but overall, a pullback to the previous all-time high could be considered an area of interest and potential for, once again, another bounce play. Now, I would say look at the cues for clues to whether or not that's going to occur. I would also be looking just at tech in general, as these tend to be fairly correlated markets overall with things like Amazon and Tesla, some of the key names in this sector. Healthcare, one of the three larger sectors of the S&P. Healthcare, strong bounce yesterday, strong trend day. Not only that, but high bull volume. So overall, multiple reasons to consider that the SPY is simply doing more and more of its rotation game, where profit taking is occurring in tech sectors, and we're getting money flowing into other sectors, most notably healthcare at this point, along with things like financials, which have yet to even pull back significantly. So we always want to keep that in mind. True fear-based selling, we will not see multiple sectors continuing to be bullish. We will see pretty much an all sector sell-off as things are more correlated. Can that occur today? Absolutely, but we have not seen it yet. So we want to remain relatively optimistic to the fact that the market is continuing to rotate money in certain sectors and out of another. And that's what keeps the SPY overall very healthy on the uptrend. We see that in XLI, once again, a new all-time high. I won't comment too much on that. We saw the bounce off of the 20 that made the new all-time high. Very shallow pullbacks being bought very strongly and continuing their uptrend. XLP, potential double top forming, but overall the reaction off of the indecision back into this range structure was very strong. I would even say that overall, from the perspective of the weekly, we're seeing a lot of optimism being placed into consumer staples. So while this is a more defensive sector, once again, the strength continues to be rotated into these sectors, which overall still have a lot of potential upside if you believe the sort of range breakouts that we've had in the past. XLU, we saw our pullback. This was a relative high, very clear resistance point that the market reacted to significantly. We saw indecision on the 20, a couple of days of follow through and potential for a lower high on the daily. I would say this market could easily start to compress, and we'll just be looking at this structure as it forms. This may tighten, or this simply may reject and clear this low, at which point the daily uptrend would be considered complete, and we'd be looking at a trend change on the daily in the utility sector. Let's see, home builders, new all-time high, one of the strongest sectors that we have currently. We've seen that before with stocks like HD and Lowe's, very strong uptrends. And as we bring up, I'm sorry, wrong sector. This is materials. So materials, interesting day yesterday, very strong showing. I'll actually look at gold and silver really quickly to kind of showcase how strong of a day it was in metals, in materials and metals. But materials, new all-time high. Getting my sectors confused, I apologize. Sometimes when you look at this too much, you start to blend the names a little bit in your head. Energy, we saw that retracement breakout. We're actually seeing a little bit of follow through in yesterday's session. I'd say overall the volume is a bit lackluster for this breakout, but if we can clear this recent high that we did set on the daily, I'd say the overall target is still these upper ranges. as we have had a nice showing of the bulls to hold support and get this breakout in the first place. Home builders, correct sector this time. Very strong showing yesterday. And what I just wanted to show was stocks like Lowe's and HD, major holdings in this sector ETF. A lot of other strong showings in other stocks, but some of the more common names that people recognize and are pretty liquid in terms of trading volume. Biotech. We did see some weakness yesterday. I think this was perpetuated by certain key names in biotech. You want to think of things like NVAX, INVAX, and also MXRT, both of which had strong overall trends that were rejected at some key levels. So VXRT and INVAX, larger holdings here. We did see a ton of weakness in those names yesterday, and that facilitated a sell-off in the sector ETF. What I'm looking at here is short-term, trying to hold this previous relative high. This was an inflection point before we tested the low a third time and got a nice breakout of that downtrend that was forming on the daily. What the biotech bulls are trying to do is basically change the daily trend. They have not done so yet, but they have put in the potential for a higher high. Now what they need to do is set a higher low. And if they do that, we want to see that at a key level, something that's very clear to the reaction and also the follow through. So as this market's a bit choppy, the trend change potential is still in play. We did see weakness yesterday. So overall, let's see if that continues or if that's just more of a one-day sell-off. Metals, correct sector this time. New all-time high. Sorry, new relative high. New high in regards to the trend. Very strong showing in silver and gold yesterday. There's also just a general strength in the metals category. So this applies to things like steel, platinum. Let's see. There's a couple of other key metals that have had some strong showings as of late. But overall, the metal sector is really starting to stand out. And if you're looking for trade ideas, you obviously want to be looking for sectors that are sort of bucking the overall trend, especially if you're more of a bullish sort of trader. Be looking for opportunities in sectors that maybe you don't necessarily scout every single day, but can still offer some great opportunity in a market that is starting to pull back. Communications, we are seeing a pullback from some of the recent earnings that we've had in Facebook and Google. That has facilitated sort of this pullback in the sector ETF. But keep in mind that the sector ETF did make a new all-time high. Yes, all-time high before doing this pullback. So overall, we're still looking for, once again, the trend to continue. We'll see if this pullback gets bought or if there's some warning signs of maybe some key levels starting to break through. At that point, we may be looking for a bounce to be faded into, setting sort of the daily lower high and the potential for the daily trend change. And finally, real estate. One quick check. This is all-time high before I keep saying it multiple times. This is all-time high. Real estate, very strong showing after some significant sell-offs in the past. We are trending on the daily, just like multiple sectors. But keep in mind that as this is a defensive sector, it's obviously a little bit of a cautionary tale if some of our strongest sectors continue to be utilities, staples, real estate, and the like. We certainly want to see our bullish sectors like tech and discretionaries pick up some of the slack and not necessarily be in a profit-taking mode if we want the bullish market to continue. But short term, we do see rotation. Some sectors continue to be standouts: financials, industrials, energy to some degree, and metals, while some sectors are simply in more of a pullback mode. So depending on your style of trading, you're looking for momentum in some of those stronger sectors and maybe more of a pullback bounce attempt on some of the weaker sectors. And then things like biotech, we're obviously looking for that daily trend change to occur. If not, the test of that 126 support is in play. Now, in the last 5 minutes of this, let's take a quick look at some of the other interesting areas from yesterday. We want to note things like gold, very strong showing yesterday, strong push off of the 20 moving average, and more than that, a notable pull away from the lower range. We essentially are trying to confirm whether this lower range is going to hold and act as a zone of support. And while we did see some potential volatile sessions pulling deeper into the range, we are now starting to break away from it. So just like in the value profile perspective, you want to move from one value zone to another, and you want to do that in some sort of trending fashion to essentially establish that the market no longer wants to stay at this value area and wants to move to a new one, potentially consolidate, and then once again choose a direction. Gold looking really good to confirm that move away from the lower value range. Silver, similar thought and thesis. Not necessarily the same clear range to define on the daily, but we're seeing a lot of strength moving away from things like moving averages on both the daily and the weekly, as we are breaking through and clearing or closing close to above the 20 moving average on the weekly. So clear out some of these lines that are no longer relevant. Gold and silver, very strong showing yesterday. We always want to keep this in mind. What sectors are standing out to us? Is the market selling in a correlated fashion? We have not seen that yet, but the market is showing volatility this morning. You can see things like the VIX are elevated this morning. We're actually seeing the potential of a breakout in these lower ranges today. And we see things like short-term VX futures starting to rise. So some areas of opportunity today continue to be those strong sectors on bounce plays, potentially weak sectors if the momentum continues to the downside, and potentially volatility and metals as something that maybe you haven't looked at as a trade opportunity, but can offer some good upside in a more volatile market. So let's enter today with an open mind. One thing that's worth mentioning, we did see the Qs pull back significantly in pre-market in what is considered a pocket drop, sort of a drop zone with very little in the way of pullbacks or support. Keep in mind that without having your stop set, these can be dangerous areas to play around in regards to trading. So keep that in mind as the market pulls back. If you enter those pockets, it's very challenging to know how deep they go. And you always want to be willing to accept a loss, allow the market to fill those pockets, and then look for the reaction if you're trying to sort of catch an aggressive bottom, maybe an oversold condition, or just looking for some sort of scalp play in general. Allow for those zones to be filled before entering, and obviously look for indecision reactions in the market to even consider an entry in the first place. So we'll see how that plays out today. I think it's going to be a pretty fun day. I'm certainly more of the reversal style trader, so I'm definitely enticed by a market that's starting to pull back. We can look for those key reactions and really get some good aggressive entries for scalp longs or even potential pullback shorts back through the key level that we just reacted off of. So with that in mind, my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. Stay safe out there and let this market tell you what it's going to do before giving it any sort of bias. So thanks again, and stay tuned for pre-market prep with Carlos and Norm, I believe. Thanks.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market prep. I hope everyone had an amazing day yesterday. Hope you're having a great morning. Good morning, Norm. How are you today?
Hey, good morning, buddy. I'm doing well. I'm a little tired. We had some crazy storms here last night. Kept me
Yeah.
up for a good portion of the evening. But I'm hanging in there. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Yesterday was off with last minute with my daughter. Her first day back at school, actually, physically back at school. So things is
Nice.
just a little bit wild, but yeah, it's just interesting. There's some people that can piss you off, man. I tell you, the situation is something. It's something for sure. But overall, she had an amazing day, so I'm happy to have her back at school, and that was that. So guys, let's get into it. I don't have a list from what was good yesterday and what was bad as far as the watch, type of a watch list because I did not trade yesterday. So what we'll do here is we'll use that extra time to look at all the stocks that are gapping down. We'll probably be able to get through all of them and see what's on there. So that's what we'll do there. But before we do that, guys, quick heads up. Let's make sure we give Jared a big thumbs up, guys. Again, the stuff he's putting together every morning is just amazing. So make sure you hit that thumbs up and show your support for him there. Let's get over to our market overall news. Any updates for today and the coming week?
There's not really significant economic data coming out today that's that big of a deal. Probably still some auto numbers to be sprinkled in here and there. I have not seen them. It was crazy with PCT stuff, so not paying as close attention to it yesterday afternoon. But consolidating, pulling back here, we hit a road bump in the market. It was relatively flat, and then right about 8:30 Eastern, no, excuse me, about 7:30 Eastern, started falling off a cliff here. So um, some inflation concerns and other things. We'll keep an eye on it and see how the day ends up.
All right, we'll definitely take a look at that. All right, guys, let's go into our watch list. We got a lot in the red this morning. Obviously, the SPY down a little bit today, about 0.5%, costing some of this. Hopefully, let's take a look here. Let's remove my watch list from Friday. So we'll bring in our new rows in here. And let's see what we have going on. All right, starting with what's green today, VXRT leading the way. They are up 16% after it looks like a nice big red day yesterday. So
they had a big red day yesterday.
yeah, coming back big here. So any news on this? Why they're dropping up now or?
Yeah, I mean, they had a couple of different things going on this morning. I see there's some fresh news about something about a norovirus medication that they have some phase 1 info on. So that's what's popping it back this morning. They had earnings and some other issues. That's what caused them to tumble yesterday. So.
All right, this one's definitely hot, guys. We've seen this a couple of days ago just take off. You can see that the increase in volume over the last couple of days. Obviously, earnings did not go well, but they're coming up here now. So definitely in play. We'll add this to our list. VRTX. What did I miss it? VXRT. There we go. VXRT on the list. 3.9 million, up 16.7. That's pretty good this morning. ARVL. This one is up 10%. Pre-market is not looking as exciting as the one we just saw. As you can see here, you do have some action, but it's not that clean. Only 126,000 shares traded. As far as the daily recent IPO, IPO trying to break out here. So could be interesting. I'm hoping that in our gapping down list, we can find something better. And I see some names here that we love to trade. So I'm on the fence on this one. We'll put it as a possible for now. We can always come back to it.
I don't
Yeah.
think this one will be that good. This is
Yeah.
a foreign company out of Luxembourg. Usually they don't trade very well. Average volume is usually under 2 million shares a day. I could be wrong.
Yeah, you know
But
what?
it just
That's I'm glad you pointed that out. I did not notice the volume because for a foreign company, the daily actually looks a lot cleaner, right? And maybe because it's just IPO'd. But yeah, you're right. The volume here very very light. So yeah, let's just take it off, guys, for now to save space. I believe that in our gapping down list,
we might find it on scanners, or somebody might keep it up
yeah.
and call it out if it turns into something decent.
Yep, absolutely. CVS this morning. Again, we've seen this one before. They probably have earnings or something going on here. They're up 2%. The issue is CVS, it can be very difficult to trade. It's not an easy stock to intraday trade. Again, the pop is nice, 2%. Is it earnings, Norm, here?
Yeah, they had
CVS?
earnings this morning.
Yeah. So, guys, maybe a possible, if that, I highly doubt it will stay there very long. Okay, looking at our gapping down list, which we have quite a bit on here, 27% down, 19, 19, 14, 10, and 10. So again, some pretty big double-digit numbers here. ISNS, this one is down 27%, but not looking all that great as far as pre-market action. What's the float on this? Yeah, I figure it was a low float. Yesterday had a nice day, going from 6 all the way up to 1150. Now just kind of slamming down a little bit here. Second days on these type of stocks, guys. This is actually the third day, right? Ran up the day before that. This would have been Friday. You want to be very careful. There could be a lot of chop involved here. There is no shares for sure as I see it now. So this low flow is a little bit concerning. Can it find a bottom, a base here and take off again and test some of these highs? Absolutely, but the likelihood is very slim on this. So I'm not going to add it on here. We could look at that later down the line or for his scanners. BTX this morning, they are down 20%, 153,000 shares traded. Recent IPO, I believe we have, no, not recent IPO. I think a SPAC or something. I don't recall. But we recently looked at this. And it doesn't trade very well. You got to be very careful on this one. The float is 35 million, but it does trade like a low float right now. The volume, I'm not seeing a great pre-market action. So again, I don't know. I'm not sure about this one. Doesn't look great right now. Put it as a possible for the moment. We'll see what happens there. RHE. Now this one, is it? No, I'm confusing with RH. I think RH is another low float. That's I don't. Yeah, it's different. Okay, so HRE. I have not seen this one. It's up 19%. Big day yesterday for it, and a couple of days ago, you can see some action here as well. Let's see. Go back. How did it actually trade? Oh, that's scary. That's a halt right there. Looks like
1.5 million share float.
Oh, yeah. This is scary. Looks like yesterday had some action. A couple of halts here. Again, guys, just be careful. Be careful. This is really not my style. Even for a risky type stock, this doesn't look great with this light volume like this right now. So I'm gonna just skip on this one for the most part. BLDB, this one is down 15% right now. Nice big drop here for them this morning. Volume looking pretty good. The candles are getting better in the pre-market. You can see here we're getting a bit more volume, creating a better pre-market action. So I do like this one. The float is pretty large, 237, so not a low flow stock. BLDP. So BLDP, we'll add that on there. Down 15%. Daily looks amazing. We lost this great level of support right on here. So let's see if that's going to continue. We're finding some support at an area of resistance right over here around 1680 or so from the daily. So let's see if that can be major support for this one. But nice big drop this morning
too.
Oh, there we go. So nice big drop on earnings this morning. That looks very, very good so far. Let's see if it can get better. Pre-market and volume there, but the daily I do like quite a bit. OCGN has been on fire. This thing has been so active. It is insane. I saw yesterday on a news alert they had some more positive news and they gapped up. So good for them. They're down today 11%, but again 3.3 million shares traded. How did it trade yesterday? It looks like it was good trade yesterday.
It was pretty decent.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, good pre-market action. Oh yeah, that's pretty good there. Great volume too, guys. We're looking at 5 million each candle here. That's very nice. All right, so we'll put OCGN on the list. Definitely in play today. The flow is pretty good. not a low flow stock. OCGN, that's on deck. SDC, we've seen this one before, down 9% this morning, losing some levels here. Daily is rough on this one, guys. And what we mean by that, if you look closely at these candles, look how everything is overlapping the previous candle, right? It's just the chop you're getting here, the wicks. I mean, it's just brutal. It doesn't look good. Now, it is down nicely today. Can he trade well? Maybe. I wish the volume was a little bit higher. Maybe a possible at best. Do we have shares for short? Yes, we do. Let's see. We might find something better. Here's Plug. We do like Plug quite a bit, guys. They're pre-market action looking very nice right now. 660,000 shares traded. So that is very good. We'll add Plug to the list this morning. That is looking good now, down 5%. So getting towards some areas of support right on here. Try to get going, but couldn't. And we're back at this area again. So let's see. Plug looks good. Pre-market building up nicely. Fuel cell looks like a lot of the EV stuff is down today, or battery related. Fuel cell here is down 5.6, 626. Very similar to Plug at the moment. You could pick either one, guys. They both trade very well. I have not really traded fuel cell, but I know you guys could trade this one amazing. I've seen some amazing trades from you guys on fuel cell. So that is definitely in play today. Great volume, down 5%. Heading down to NVAX this morning. This is a brutal stock. I mean, look at it yesterday. What happened? Man, oh man, this thing went down from 240 to 190. So taking a huge hit here. The float on this is 73, but you want to treat this like a lower flow stock or just a riskier stock.
It moves a lot.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's not for the faint of heart to trade.
The spread is bad at times. You know, it does, even at the market open, doesn't get great. It is definitely in play, but you have to be skilled at trading these type of stocks, guys. I am definitely not going to touch this. It's not my favorite type of stocks to trade. So I'm going to just stay away from that this morning. SABR, this one, it's slightly all over the place. Not a great pre-market action, guys. Look at the way this is forming. Yes, we do have 256,000 shares traded, but this one candle here is holding 196. So this really is not in play as I see it right now. And man, what a brutal daily, right? Look how horrible this daily is. Very light volume for the most part, and then just everything just very choppy. Yeah, I don't think this is in play. This would not show up in our gappers list if it was not for this one little block trade here. First thing when the market opened at well, not when the market opened, but at 7:40. This thing was posted there. So not really in play. BHC, this one also looking horrible, guys. Not looking great. Let's get rid of that for now. NVAX, we looked at Mara. What's going on with Bitcoin? We haven't talked about them in some time. They are down today 4%, 262,000 shares traded. Maybe a good possible. Mara can put in some good stuff once in a while. Givo this morning, it's okay. Volume is a little bit light in the pre-market, so not great. Envis, what's going on with this one? We know about the huge drop already.
Crazy.
It's just insane. How was it yesterday? You guys have it on the watch
Pretty
yesterday?
good. Yeah, I traded it yesterday.
Oh, nice. Oh, beautiful drop here. Nice. All right, so let's keep it on deck, guys. We're getting into an interesting area here, trying to find support. So let's see some of these levels, if this thing can run lower after just being smashed from 28 down to 13. And let's see if it has some more room towards the downside, or if it's too extended, you know, maybe we can have an opportunity to the upside. So we'll see. But definitely looking okay. Pre-market action is not great though. It can be better. It looks like yesterday was a lot better than today. Let's see if that picks up. NMDM, this one, I don't like this one. Every time I look at it, it's just, I don't know. You got some stocks that you look at them and you're like, you know what? I will lose money on this one, and this is one of them for me. So I just don't like the way it looks right now, guys. Pre-market is all over the place. I'm just gonna skip on it. BNGO, bingo. Nope, let's select one. Bingo here. Yeah, that doesn't look good neither. We'll skip on that. It can get better. I do like the drop here. Possible continuation towards the bottom after a couple of really good red days here. So it's a nice downtrend. Trying to hold this level here. You know what? This might be all right, actually. This might be all right. And I know bingo trades okay. This might be all right. I'm convincing myself to add this one to the list based on that daily. Riot, we got some Bitcoin stuff in play. They're down today. I do have Mara already. I'm not going to add too many because Riot, it doesn't look all that great right now, right? So I'll just keep Mara for now. We'll see if they want to lose this level of support or what's happening there. CCIV, this one this morning, they are down. This looks interesting. Pre-market could be better, but CCIV could be interesting. Let's add it here. We'll at least do some levels and be ready for that one. Space is down 2.4. Not great volume. Big red day yesterday. Looks like yesterday was a nice day, guys. Big nice drop yesterday here on the space. So possible continuation today. Let's see. XPEV, we have that one on here. Looking okay. We lose again. Just this EVs, man. I thought they were going to find some kind of support here, but they're not. They're just continue to drop. So down 2.5 here, losing a great level of support. Next level of support we have it down here, 26 and 82. So XPEV is interesting. NEO is probably the one I'm going to keep. Better volume, better pre-market action. The daily on XPEV is a little bit better than NEO, and the reason I say that is because NEO is just kind of winding into a dot here. But if you look at XPEV towards the bottom, you lost some key levels of support here already. So if this thing is going to be weak, you might have more room to run on XPEV. So we'll take a look at both of those guys, XPEV and NEO. We'll probably only keep one. I like NEO because the pre-market looks cleaner on NEO. But I don't like the towards the bottom. We have a lot of support here, so we might get some choppiness and some bounces as buyers try to find support in here. XPEV could be better. All right, that is what we have as far as gapping down. I think we went through everything there. Norm, what do you like this morning?
Still looking, brother.
All right, excellent. Let us know if you see anything great out there. Let's get into our list this morning. Let's start over here. Let me make sure this doesn't scroll down automatically on me on the chat room. We'll scroll that up, and we will start with, let's scroll up here. Let's over here, Savas, AMD. Let's start there. AMD this morning. Oh man, wow, AMD, huge drop yesterday. Man, oh man. Yeah, AMD possible continuation. I like the daily on AMD, guys. Look at this level of support. We're slightly below that. If the market wants to head down a little lower, you know AMD has some room to run here. Yeah, so I'll make space for AMD. I think that's a very good one this morning. mRNA, let's take a look there. mRNA, they are, you know, they're tough to trade. They're not an easy intraday trading stock. So I don't see anything explosive right now. Possible breakout, if not at the market open later down the line. Hopefully the market does well. Today it gives you a little bit of a bounce for breakout of 189. Yep, I agree with you there. PFE is another one too, guys. Again, very difficult stock to trade. Now this one looks to be in play though. 1.9 million shares traded. Beautiful day yesterday. Yeah, this one is a little bit.
They had earnings this morning, but I'll tell you, 5 billion share float. Pfizer's like trying to turn an aircraft or carrier around.
Agree. Yeah, it's tough to trade, and we've seen. Actually, you know what? You're right. We've seen this in earnings in the past, and it's been brutal. It's been so choppy. So yeah, you're absolutely right. XOM, you know what? I don't have no good experience on XOM. It doesn't trade very well for me as an intraday trading stock. Possible breakout, I do see that. The day looks great. If you like that one, you can add it to your list. Hamish and Jimmy are both giving us X here. Let's take a look at that one. X this morning. Yeah, possible breakout. I do like the daily on here. Pre-market is okay. Could be better. Had a couple of really nice days on Monday and Friday, guys. Look at the breakout yesterday. That is very nice. And then Friday, I don't recall watching this on Friday, but look at Friday here. Beautiful breakout Friday. So if this continues, and it's funny, I believe, was it Jerry that called out X? I believe he said in one of his engineering the markets sessions that X is kind of coming back. I want to say it was him, but you know, I don't recall, but we'll add it on here. X is good. PFE we looked at. BLRX, I think we've seen this before. It's not great. Again, popping up here, 70%, 16.9 million shares traded. What is the float on this? BLRX. They are 23, so just borderline low flow. Yeah, this could be the risky one for today. BL, don't worry guys, I know we have a lot on here, but we do have a lot of time. We'll chop this up nicely. BLRX, we'll add that on there. PFE we looked at. PFE, PRPO, PRPO. What's going on here? Another nice pop here, 24%, 12 million shares traded so far. This is PRPO. Let's take a look. What is the flow here? 17. We'll put both of these on there. They're both very active. They both seem to be in play at the moment. PRPO with 24 percent up this morning, 12 million shares traded. Good day yesterday, probably on some news here. And then BLRX also active as well. We'll take a closer look at that in a second. Heading down, yeah, Jared, both you and Brian did. I remember you hearing that from you. So X is definitely doing pretty good. Let's take a look at Apple. Apple's always a good one to watch, guys, as we always mention. It's a good feel for what the tech sector is doing overall. They're active today, though. They got 2.8 million shares traded. So this is not just they didn't have earnings, right? Apple? No, right? Okay, so this is not just market play here. This is definitely it is here. This 2.8. Wow. All right, so this is good, guys. I want to watch this one. Thought there was something else going on with Apple, but if not, that is an amazing volume. We'll add this to our main list.
It's a perfect image of the
Qs or
SPY or the Qs this morning.
Yeah. Oh, you're right.
I mean, it's not that there's zero news on it. There is some antitrust stuff, but it's been going on. I mean, that's not super fresh, and it's not fresh as of this morning, but it matches. Oh, you could print it out and put it over the SPY, and it would be the same thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's exactly the same. Look at this right here. Wow, but that's some really good volume, though. I wouldn't expect that much volume for it to just be following the market. 2.9, so that's pretty good. It's pretty good to see there. All right, we'll see what's going on. We'll keep Apple on deck for sure. Again, another one that's great when the market is trending in one way or the other. Apple could be a whole lot of fun to look at and trade. All right, Apple is good, guys. X, we do have anything else here? American Airlines. I don't think the airlines are in play. Do we have anything going on? Yeah, they haven't been in play in a long time, guys, the airlines. This travel sector has just been chopping around. We had a couple of days here we dropped. I think this was when the market took a big hit. But as outside of that, and then during this time, you could have traded anything else. Like anything else was really active. They haven't been really good in the last couple of days. So I agree. The daily, well, if you're looking for a breakout, this is good, right? If you're looking for a breakout, but I just don't know if you're going to get a breakout with the way the market is right now. So again, I'm just not sure about that. All right, pretty good. I think we're covered there, guys. Let's take a few over from our YouTube friends. Let's start with Jason. He's given us CRSR. What do we have here? I don't like the daily. Very light on the volume too, guys. Look at these wicks, right? See the daily here? You got a small candle, and then you got these huge wicks. That usually indicates chop. I don't want to be involved in something like that. Now, I do like the fact, I see what you're looking at, which is a great observation. They're breaking out of this 34.27. That could possibly run, but looking at their history, man, and just
there's no order flow going on.
Right, there's no order flow. And look at the volume on any given day. It's less than 2 million, way less than 2 million. So I'm concerned that your chances for this one to be great and have a day like this are very slim. So just be careful. You're going to be watching that one. PRPO, we did take a look at. PFE, we did take a look at. That is also on deck. We'll look at it closer. AMD, we have. Apple, we have. All right, you guys are throwing out some pretty good ones that we looked at already. BHC. What's happening there? BHC very active this morning, down 4%. Volume is okay though. The pre-market looks good. Volume is 197 only. Their dailies, okay. I'm not sure about this one. Horrible daily here. It gets better in April, but here this is just horrible daily action on BHC. What's the float on this, by the way? BHC, huge float, 345. So I'm not going to add this one, guys. I think we have some good ones that are in here today. You know what? We'll take a second look at it. We'll give it the benefit of the doubt this morning. KOPN. KOPN. Let's take a look here. What is this? Oh, dailies it's okay. It's really all over the place. I do like the fact that we're slamming against the area of support. But I don't see this being a great one this morning. I think we have some other better ones here. If we didn't have some great ones today in here, this probably could be on the list, but we got some pretty good ones on the list already. All right, plug, we do have NKLA broke yesterday's support. You know, we've been looking at that one, but it hasn't been really all that great. So right now, volume is 108. Yeah, I don't like the pre-market action. What did it do yesterday? Let's see. What did it do yesterday? Yesterday had a nice drop. But you know what? Looking at some of the stocks you guys threw out this morning, there was a lot of pretty good ones that had an amazing drop. So I can't give them too much credit when everything else seemed to have dropped pretty nice too. So again, we'll see what happens. Right, guys, let's stop here. And we'll go over to our community events. We'll come back and fine-tune this list.
All right, guys.
That's an old one. Let me
That's
get
from
you a
last
fresh
week,
one.
brother.
Yeah. Let me get you a fresh one right in here because I did download the
You're
one
gonna
you
give me
sent
a
me.
fresh one. What did I do to you? You're gonna give me a black eye.
We give it 1 sec and we change that up here. Here we go. We'll go to announcements and get the one I downloaded today.
Well, I can start talking about Eamon's webinar tonight, 5 p.m. It's going to be part 2 of his parabolic reversal strategy series. Just note that special time, 5 p.m. Eastern tonight, because of his time zone. And then for psychology, tomorrow night, you're going to have Dr. Kenneth Reed, 8 p.m. normal time, talking about monkey mind. This goes back to Creda's chimp mind, I guess, and how to free yourself of that. And the next week, and that time is not correct. Mike is not doing that at 5 a.m. Handling the emotions of trading, that'll be at the normal time, 8 p.m. next Wednesday. If you want to participate in the member trade of the day, trade of the week, take a screenshot of your best trade of the day with entries and exits. Also put any commentary you can on there to describe the trade, the strategy, why you got in, and everything else. Post it on Twitter, tag at Bearable Traders, at MikeB_BBT, and at NormBBT. Also use the hashtags BBT family, day trading and stock market. Pick a winner each day and announce it on Twitter. And then all those trades of the day are eligible for trade of the week that the team votes on over the weekend and announces on Monday on Twitter. And if you're watching on YouTube, haven't been in the chat, use the promo code premarket24. It'll get you a discount off the intro membership. That is 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the room. Includes the onboarding classes that are done live every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern.
All right, thank you, Norm, for that. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's jump onto this list. We've got quite a bit on here. So let's first take a look at our secondary list. Let's see if anything has gotten better. Apple, we're going to look at. That's very good. X had a couple of really good days here, so let's see if it's going to continue there. Again, possible continuation of this breakout. I'm not sure if it's too extended on the daily yet, but this could be good. This could be really, really good. PFE, again, just difficult to trace. I'm going to remove it. I think we have some stuff here that looks very good that we can take a look at. Space at the moment, it's okay for possible. A few so is okay. CVS, I'm going to remove, guys. They're in play today. They're up 1.8. You just got to be able to know how to trade that type of stock and have a lot of patience because they could be funky at times. BTX, this could be very explosive. But again, you got to be careful here with the spread. Right now it's showing 40 cents there. So again, just got to be very, very careful with that. We'll keep it on here for now. SDC, I like the drop here. Mara, you know what? Mara, I'm not sure about Mara. I'm going to remove it. Going to remove Mara. BNGO, this could be good continuation. XPEP for NEO, I'm not going to keep both. I think NEO has the better volume. Those XPEP has the better daily. We're going to compromise. We're just going to we'll keep NEO for now. So we'll keep NEO, we'll keep in mind XPEP, and we can always tune into that one. BHC is getting a little bit of a bounce here. I'm just concerned how the price action is going to be. Normally, this stock does not trade very well, has a horrible daily. But look at the last couple of days. They've been putting in some pretty good sized candles here with slightly some good volume on some of these days. So that could be interesting. That could be a hit or miss. So we took off a few there. We'll come back and fine tune it again as that pre-market action develops. VXRT, guys, definitely in play. We've seen the last couple of days this thing has been very, very active. So we'll keep an eye on that one. It is on short selling restrictions. We do not have shares for short, unfortunately, with Interactive Brokers. But let's see. Let's see if it could still be a good one for a pop here this morning. BLDP, this one has a great drop here, 14%. Pre-market action is good. I think the daily is decent. Maybe more of a possible. Let's see. OCGN, I think this one is very good. We'll keep that one on deck. Plug is very good, guys. Great pre-market action, great volume. Envis is okay. So right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think we're gonna put down BL. Was it BLPD? Yes, BLPD. Let's put this one down because we got some really good ones up there. So BLPD. Let's bring that one over here. Excuse me, BLDP. BLDP. We'll bring that down as possible. because compared to everything else that we looked at, VXRT, OCGN, and Plug, these look very, very good. I'd rather have these on my main list. Envis has been pretty good. That we do not have shares for short though. And I like this one for a possible drop. We got some room to run here. We're trying to hold it to this area of support. We've been testing that for the last 2 days here. Third time could be a charm to run away from this, but we don't have shares for short. So with that said, I'm going to bring it down to a possible, because we're going to be kind of handicapped if we can only play that in one direction. So that's going to be a possible for now. CCIV looks good, guys, for a possible continuation towards the bottom here. AMD, great day, a great couple of, well, not for them, but for us intraday traders, great couple of days here, guys, just dropping nicely. Yesterday was very clean, slamming against this area of support. I really like AMD if we can get a continuation here, and the market can help AMD, similar to Apple. I'm going to bring Apple up as well. Apple, although it's trading with the market, is identical to what the SPY is doing. The volume just seems so high on it. It's pretty good. Also, on their own, if the market's going to drop, we're slamming on an area of support right on here. We've been consolidating in here after we had a nice little run. If we break this, I'm sure there's a lot of people that might want to bail. That can cause a nice little run for us towards the bottom there too. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Apple. But the volume is there. So whatever direction this thing decides to go, it's going to do it with some good volume and liquidity. So that's great. All right. So I think that's a good list right now. Let's go again one more time, since we are ahead of schedule. It's only 9:01 in the morning. So let's go through our secondary list and try to fine tune this even further. The more I look at Envis, the more I want to take it off. I think that, yeah, let's just take this off. We can wait for that to hit the scanners. And if anybody else is watching that, let me see if any moderators list is out yet. Not yet, but if anybody's watching that, then they can call it out. Here's X. I think X is a great opportunity to get going, so that's good. Space is decent. We'll keep that there. Fuel cell is okay. BTX, I'm keeping this one here because I feel like I'm going to miss out on an insane move, $5-10 move here. But just looking at everything, it's not ideal for what we want to see. So I'm going to get rid of it. No FOMO. Let's go down to the next one. SDC. This one here has a beautiful drop, down 10%. Still, volume is rather light on this one. So I'm going to hopefully hope to see this in the scanners, or if you guys call it out, let us know. BNGO is good, guys. This one has decent volume, down 4%. We got a possible nice run down here towards some levels, towards the bottom here at a 517. NEO and BHC is another one that I think I'm holding on for to not lose a move here. So yeah, let's get rid of it. Let's get rid of it. Okay, there we go. Now we have a nice list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Some good possibles. And we have our risky pile down here. BLRX, very active, 19 million shares traded. PRPO, having a little bit of a bounce of 554 here. Pre-market action looking very nice on this one after a bang-up day yesterday, guys. What did it do yesterday? Look at this. It just took off from 2 to 7. So very, very, very nice. All right, levels. Let's do it. Let's do levels, guys. VXRT this morning. This madness, you're stuck between the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. The only thing I'm going to add here is the high of the pre-market, which is going to be, nope, that's yesterday's action. Right over here, nice rejection over at $9.99. Sounds like a price of something at a department store here. $9.99, high of your pre-market. We tested that a couple of times there, was not able to get above that. Towards the bottom, we have $9.35. And then below that, we have low of the pre-market at $9.20. So this $9.35, that is, what is that? Where's that coming from? $9.35, that is the low from 2 days ago, right on here. So the low from 2 days ago, you can see in the pre-market action this morning, it is playing very nice with that level here, trying to find support. But your low of your pre-market is down at 920. Outside of that, guys, I don't think you need to add anything else. I think you're pretty much set there. So that's good to go. OCGN, guys, very active, taking a bit of a hit, down 10% now. We do have shares for sure on this one. High of the pre-market sitting at 1534, so throw a level there. That's good. Towards the bottom, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. Same towards the top. You got the previous day close and the high from yesterday. I don't think you need to add any more on this one. I think you're pretty much set as far as levels. Do we have anything in between here, between 1534 and the low of the pre-market? We do have this one day over here, 1456. So I'm going to throw that 1456, which also looks pretty interesting here in the pre-market. As you can see, a couple of touches on there. That was actually initially the low of the pre-market was right on there into just about 7 o'clock. We started losing it. We tested the low of the pre-market again, came back at 750 or so, and now it just completely collapsed there. So looking really good there. We do have shares for sure. Here is Plug also taking a little bit of a dive this morning. 24.73 is your low of your pre-market. Your high of your pre-market is slightly under the low from yesterday. So right over here around 26. We'll throw a level there, 26. And then outside of that, above that, you do have the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days and the previous day close. Now, towards the bottom here, if we were to lose this 24.74, it looks like we might be coming down to give it one more test there. 23.94, a good level down here. Great area of support. Nice bounce we got there a couple of weeks back on Plug. So that is what we have there, guys. Very active, great pre-market action right now. This is clean, right? So when we're looking at, when we say, hey guys, this is a clean pre-market action, just look at the way this is trading here, right? Look how great these candles are forming. Look how good the volume is. That is a great pre-market action. CCIV, this one is down quite a bit as well. Here, low of the pre-market, 19.23 for the most part. Below that, very similar to Plug. Very similar to what Plug is doing here. Except they're trying to go the opposite direction. 1762 here, low of below the low of the pre-market. You also have this date on here, so I'll mark this also. You got a couple of 2 touches on here, 1831. That can become support if we get down there. We'll see. Right now, trying to get a bit of a bounce here of this 1923. Here's AMD, man. AMD's having been doing so well. Broke out nicely out of this large wide consolidation range, right? Broke out of that a couple of days ago, had a huge gap up here, and it's just giving it all right back. We're at the bottom of this consolidation, trying to find support. So we'll see what happens here. Low of the pre-market, 77.60. We'll throw a level there. And then below that, look how that 77.60, you got a couple of days touching that as well. Here, opening and closing around that area. Support, resistance for these 3 days here, then the breakout. So again, I think that level is going to be pretty important, that 77.60. Let's see if we're going to be able to hold that. Towards the bottom, guys, a couple of levels here I want to mark down. This one here, 75, clearly the whole dollar number. Aside from that, couple of days really bouncing off of this nicely later. They came down here. Look at the wick. That's the bounce off that level. So again, a lot of strong support appearing here when we hit that 75. And slightly above that, I'm going to mark down 76 almost. You have a couple of days bouncing off of that, and then you have days opening and closing right around that area. So that could be a good point as well towards the bottom here for AMD. Next, we have Apple. Apple's daily looks really good, guys. Look at the consolidation you've been getting out of this. We did get a beautiful gap up. This was last week, I believe, and they just sold right back into the consolidation. Now we're at the bottom of this consolidation, looking to hopefully stay above that. The low of the pre-market, 130.87. Towards the bottom, we're looking at 129.40. Another level right over here, guys. This is an area, so I want to put it a little bit lower because you see the touches happening right on here, 127.50. So not right at the top of this, but right below there, you can see how many touches we have on this specific level. So be on the lookout for like 128, 82, 127.82, 127.50. Just that overall area is going to be a good level for Apple if we decide to do this drop. I mean, if we do this drop, it's going to be a very interesting day. I don't expect that to happen, but we will definitely see. All right, guys, that is what we have. That is our list right now. Recap: VXRT, OCGN, very active. Plugs looking very good. Heading down against that pre-market low. It's about to create a new one now, it looks like. We'll still keep this level here, guys. Still keep the 24.74 because you can see that's obviously important to them. Look at the volume increase when we get to this level. There was a question that was asked one time in our chat room. At these levels, do we expect to go short or long? And the key thing is we don't know that, right? You have to look at your strategy. What we do know is at these levels, you are going to get increase in volume, right? Buyers can step up and push this up, or buyers can get crushed, right? And you're going to see the flush happen. So we know that around these key levels, you are going to get, that's what the battle is going to happen, right? And this is kind of what Thor would say, right? That's what the battle is happening. The buyers are sellers are trying to battle with the buyers here, and whoever wins is where the price action is going to go. So that is what we're looking at. That's why these levels are so important. You can see here we're back at this level again for the second time. Every time it got here, you can see the volume increase, right? Again, it's increasing right now. So who's going to win, buyers or sellers? that is what we will be looking for there. So if the sellers lose, if the buyers lose here, we have another key level down at 23.93 there. CCIV looking good, getting a little bit of a bounce. Pre-market is okay, could be better. AMD, great pre-market action. Apple, great volume, good pre-market action. Basically what the SPY is doing, Apple is doing. And then we have our apostles, BLDP. We have X, which has a couple of really good intradays the last 2 days. Space is okay. Fuel cell active, but not a great pre-market right now. BNGO has an okay pre-market action, and then NEO also down here looking pretty good. So all right, that's looking good. We got our two not low flow, but risky stocks here. BLRX, very active, 20 million. I'm concerned with these type of stocks here when you got so much volume and you're just now chopping around a little bit. So just be concerned with that. That might be difficult to trade. PRPO on the other hand, this was looking very nice. Look at this pre-market action. Right, we came down, tested 554, and now we're bouncing up nicely, breaking through some levels here, creating some new recent highs. So that's nice. This is what you want to see in a lower flow type stock. This one has 17 million shares traded right now. What's the float on this? PRPO. Oops, PRPO. 17. So 17 million shares flow, guys. Be very, very careful with that one. All right, let's see our moderators lineup. What do we have today? Let's bring that over and see what's going on there. Here we go. Oops, hold on a second. Oh, did I change that? Well, don't want to show private chats. Let's go here. That's where the secret is at. Here we go, guys. All right, Peter, IPO VLATU is a SPAC opening up today. That's the only IPO for today. Peter's looking at also Apple, AMD, OCGN secondary list, X, PFE, Plug, PRPO as well on his list. Eamon is looking at MU, Riot, Apple, secondary list, Mara, Tiger, CIGR, and BNGO. Dima is looking at BXRT, Plug, AMD, and Apple. Mike, break of high scanners as usual, and mRNA, BNTX. Likes the daily charts on both, but watch out for the spread on those two guys. Tiffany is looking at OCGN, Apple, secondary list, AMD, and Plug. Jared is looking at PRPO, VXRT, OCGN, AMD, and a couple of sectors there as well. John, high of day breakout, top of his list, Facebook and mRNA. Jared is also adding Facebook to his list as well. We'll look at Facebook, see what's going on there. Brian's list, PRPO, OCGN, Plug, and Apple. We have all those four on our list. They all look very, very good this morning. So here we go. PRPO looking to break out. It's got some good volume there. Let's see, looking very, very strong right now, guys. Great activity out of that one. Let's see if it can break over to 7. Struggling a little bit, but we'll see how that goes. All right, guys, 9:12. We are pretty much set. Recap, VXRT on our main list. We have OCGN, we have Plug, we have CCIV, AMD, and also Apple this morning. So that is what we have, guys. Thank you so much for joining us over on YouTube. We are going to continue here in our chat room with Brian starting out to go over what he likes this morning in trading live as well, and Andrew also in the chat. So thank you guys for joining us. Make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. We really appreciate you guys doing that. It does help out the channel. It does support us grow here on YouTube as well. Norm, myself, Jared, really appreciate it. So thank you guys for that very much. And we will see you guys tonight. Well, not you on YouTube, but tonight, members, we have our onboarding webinar. I believe it's Eamon at 5, correct? Eamon, 5 p.m. Eastern time. So again, a different time there. It's not going to be the regular 8 p.m. So show up early so you don't miss it. But if not, the recording will also be available. Take care, guys, over on YouTube. Thank you again. We highly appreciate you guys being with us this morning. We know you have options, and have a good one, guys. Take care.